Hello everyone, this is Nick and welcome to Axis and Allies 1942 Online. I'm going to be showing you one of my favorite strategies as Japan, an absolutely killer transport blitz strategy where you are pretty much almost 100% guaranteed to take India by turn 3. It's pretty much a guarantee. There's really just not much that the Allies can do to prevent this. You are going to take India by turn 3. You might have to, kind of do some workarounds after turn 3 to, help defend Japan a little bit, see what's going on, but you're pretty much absolutely guaranteed to take India by turn 3, helping Germany out in the war against Russia if they have not taken Russia already. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. I am going to just be doing a couple of moves against all the other 4 nations are the computer. If you want to practice the strategy, you can do it a little bit just playing against the AI, and these are all just basic generic AI moves. England as the AI, I've seen pretty much 100% of the time take the transport and destroyer that Japan starts with here off the coast of China. They have taken that. Looks like everything survived as well. I didn't get their plane, I didn't get their aircraft carrier or their cruiser, sorry. They managed to take Borneo with both infantry units that they almost always try to do. But they actually managed to take it, surprisingly, good for them. And they take the little fleet that they have down here, in Sea Zone 39, and they attacked my submarine and sunk it. And I don't believe, no, I did not retaliate. They have their full fleet. They have not lost a single ship, basically, England. Germany did take Egypt, and I'll probably get into that in another video, specifically regarding one very important unit for England. And at the end of the UK's turn, they put 3 Spitfires in India. Pretty generic, very basic UK AI move. The computer tends to do this pretty much 100% of the time. I don't know if they did anything up here. No, they didn't put any units in. Oh, they lost their bomber. Hey, England lost its bomber. Anyway, we're not focusing on that. We're focusing on Japan taking India by turn 3. So, the UK has incurred pretty much 0 losses, actually. Well, 0 losses, not even 1 infantry on Borneo. Yeah, 0 losses here in the Pacific. And Russia has reinforced Buryatia with 5 infantry and 2 here in Yakut. So they took everything out of the Soviet Far East. Okay, so this might be a little bit more difficult to take, but we're going to look into this. We do have the US troops here in Yunnan, Sichuan, and Anhui. The US has not moved yet because it's not their turn. This is still round 1. And it's Japan's turn to move. Now, we've lost a transport and a destroyer here off the coast of China, but that's fine. But our fleet down here in the East Indies, Yes, East Indies is untouched. Our fleet here is untouched. And we've got a nice little fleet here untouched with 1 transport already. Now, to properly execute the India by turn 3 blitz, you're going to want to purchase 3 transports, 2 artillery. And that's it. That's the bread and butter. This is going to last you 3 turns. So turn 2 and turn 3 are bonuses. Do whatever you want. I personally like to just drop 5 submarines right here off the eastern coast of Japan in case the US is thinking about any kind of fleet options. And usually turn 3 as well. I just drop a bunch of submarines in. If it looks like they're being overly aggressive, then I kind of build up my infantry and maybe put a tank and a fighter in Japan as well. But again, this is all stuff that you can kind of do reactively according to what the US decides to do. But that's it. 2 artillery, 3 transports. We're going to end the phase. I know it's a lot of IPCs, just, people might be like, what? Where are all your units? Where are your fighters? Where's your infantry? Well, that doesn't matter, because we're taking India by turn 3, so who cares? Alright, let's go into the combat move phase. Now, like anything in this game, this could all completely get messed up by just horrendously unlucky dice, but statistically we should have this. If I were to, record this 10 times, pretty much 10 out of 10 I would take India. barring any crazy things that the AI might come up with. Clearly, if you're going to be playing against a player, it's going to be a different scenario, but even against a player, you're pretty much almost 100% guaranteed to take India by turn 3. So, combat move. We're going to take this transport, we're going to move it here. We're going to pick up 1 infantry, and the tank, we're going to drop it in Buryatia. The battleship is going to do a bombardment procedure on Buryatia. You don't actually need to do this, you really don't. It's just, it helps to take Buryatia. The gist of the transport blitz is that we're going to kind of basically sacrifice this area of any land units, so you really just don't want these 5 infantry kind of walking over Manchuria and walking over everything. So we've already got 3 units in there. We're going to take these 3 and attack it as well. We're going to take this bomber and attack it. We're going to take this fighter and attack it. So that's everything that we're doing against Buryatia. Now we're going to take these 4 units, and we're going to take all 4. Actually, if the transport here off the coast of China was still alive, I would only attack with 3. But since the UK destroyed the destroyer and the transport, we're attacking with all 4. And we're also assisting with this plane to just kind of ensure that we take those 2 American infantry out and we gain the Anhui province. Now we're going to be taking all these land units and going into Yunnan. We're going to completely ignore the 2 infantry on Burma, and we're just going to take all these land units. We're going to attack Yunnan province. We're going to take basically our entire fleet and attack what's left of the British here, this destroyer included, and we will take 1 plane from here and this plane here. Now the reason we're doing this is just to ensure that we hopefully just get 1 combat round here off the eastern coast of China and completely destroy all of that. And we're going to take this 1 remaining fighter, this 1 remaining 0 here. We're going to sink this transport, because a transport is a non-combatant unit. It's going to die instantly. We're not even going to have to roll for it. It's just going to die. This plane here can assist with Yunnan. 6v2, we should have that. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah, I don't have any other fighters. I don't have anything else I can do. So, may the dice rolls be with us. Let's go for the Russian province first. Our battleship bombarded successfully. We got 1 hit with our infantry, 1 hit with our tank and plane, and 1 bomber hit. And they're taking out a couple of our infantry, which is fine. Not a big deal. That was pretty bad. Thankfully, we did get that bomber hit, and thankfully that infantry did not retaliate. So we have 2 infantry left. 2 is fine. 2 is fine. 3 would have been better. 2 is fine. 1 can still be done. 1 is doable. You pretty much just have to completely sacrifice Buryatia with 1. And even if you're left with 0 infantry, you're still fine. You're taking India in 3 turns. No ifs, ands, or buts. Now let's take out the American infantry here in Anhui province. 1 hit with infantry, 1 hit with the plane, no retaliation. Perfect. That's what Daddy likes to see. Now let's go for this option here, taking out the British fleet, or at least half of it in the Pacific. Now again, statistically we should win this. They do have a fighter defending at 4, but we should win this. 1 hit with an aircraft carrier, that's rare, and the fleet's done. 1 hit there, let's put it into the battleship, and they missed with the Spitfire. That is phenomenal news. If not, we would just have them destroy the destroyer. So, as of right now, our rolls have been looking pretty damn good. Let's go ahead and take Yunnan province. Now again, it's got 2 infantry, and 2 infantry is nothing to be sneered at, but statistically, we should have this fight pretty easily. 1 hit there. Oh, we did not take them out in 1 combat round. That's actually pretty damn impressive. But they only defended once. Totally fine with that. They did not get a second chance to counterattack. So Yunnan is ours. Now we've got our non-combat move. We're going to start basically, we're just ignoring all this. We're ignoring the American fleet. We're ignoring the British fleet here. If they kind of start flexing and bringing their stuff over here, we're going to keep ignoring them. We're just going to ignore them. We're not going to care. They can flex all they want. We're taking India by turn 3. You're absolutely going to want to make sure that this infantry here goes up to French Indochina. And then you're going to want to reinforce a little bit with some of these fighters. You do have 2 fighters that can land here in the fleet, but that's really kind of pointless. There's no reason to have that. That can land in Indochina. That's the bomber. This cannot, so we can just have this land with the fleet, because that's the only fighter that could not land on either Kwangtung or Thailand. Everything else can. And this is actually, you really actually don't really care about Kwangtung. You can just completely sacrifice it to the Americans and move all your plane units into Thailand, every single one of them, including the bomber. We're going to need the bomber in this area. Not that it matters, bombers have pretty long range. We have 2 fighters here. We can actually take one. Why is this? Hello, come on, click on that. There we go, and also put that into Thailand. We can put them all into Thailand. Great. Fantastic. So now Thailand is unbelievably reinforced against any kind of British attack. If you only had like 2-3 units in here, they could attack with 2 infantry and reinforce with 3 fighters and actually take it and knock out a bunch of your planes, especially if you have the bomber here. But they really wouldn't think about it now with 5 fighters, 1 bomber, and 1 infantry. You could potentially maybe put like 2 fighters here if you wanted to, just to make sure the Americans don't take it, but you know, maybe they get a little bit cheeky and try anyway, try to knock out some of your fighters, and you're going to need them all to take India. So reinforce Thailand with everything you can and completely sacrifice Kwangtung. You don't have to do it this way. This is the way I do it. You can do it any way you like, but you're going to see that we're taking India by turn 3. Right, that's pretty much all we can do. There's nothing else, no fleet movements. The battleship and transport stay there because they already did their combat movement. And we go to the next phase. And we mobilize, and we put our transports here. You have to make sure you put them here. Don't put them on the East Coast, because then maybe an American bomber can be like, hey, look at that, easy pickings. Probably not. I don't think they can get there. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, they can't really make it there, but just in case, consolidate your fleet on the western coast of Japan. And that's it. Put your artillery on Japan as well, and end your turn. Computer does all its moves. Looks like the US really wanted to take Kwangtung. That's absolutely fine. Alright, the UK has finished its turn. It realizes what's going on. It realizes that we are becoming an incredibly powerful transport power. So it removed the 2 infantry from Burma, put them into India, and then stacked 3 more infantry there. I don't know what happened to the Spitfires. Oh, they're moving them up to Caucasus. Okay, so it's the AI. The AI is pretty stupid, but I guess it's trying to help out against Germany. And that's fine. That's fine. If you're England and you know what's about to go down, maybe you want to do the same. Maybe you don't want to sacrifice 30 IPCs worth of fighter power to the Japanese military. Maybe you don't want to do that. That's absolutely fine. So we now have free reign to just walk right into Burma, and it's going to be completely uncontested. And again, we're ignoring all of this. We're just ignoring it. We're going to ignore Borneo as well. We're not going to think about the 2 infantry there. Pretty much going to ignore... Well, we could take it with that infantry. I mean, that infantry, the 4 infantry that we took Anhui with, I mean, they can kind of fight around here. Since we're not going to need these 5 fighters to help take Burma because there's nothing there, they can actually help out against this infantry and that fighter plane. So we should have pretty much all of China by the end of this turn as well as gain a little bit of power getting ready to take India. So, again, what I personally like to do is just plonk 5 submarines right off the eastern coast of Japan and start getting ready to, you know, basically go for the US right after we take India, because once you take India and the UK can't produce any units anymore here, Russia's screwed very, very shortly after, provided Germany hasn't already taken it. Russia's completely screwed 1 or 2 turns after, because, you know, Japan could just put 2 tanks here every turn, 3 tanks here every turn, and just support a little bit, blitz through all of this, take everything, and, you know, you just get to completely divert your attention eastwards by turn 2. It's phenomenally good. It's such a great strategy. Right, so we've purchased our 5 submarines. Now it's time to blow the hell out of Burma. So we're just going to waltz right into Burma, completely unopposed. We're going to take these 4 transports, and we're going to load... Actually, we'll leave that infantry there to defend against the Russians. We're going to load these 3 infantry and that infantry there, these 3 artillery and that tank, and we're going to take them all the way down to Burma. Now look at that. We've got 13 units in Burma. Not looking good for the British. Not looking good at all. The British could basically take next turn, put 3 Spitfires in there, move all these 3 Spitfires, move this infantry in, and it's still not looking good. It's not looking good. Statistically, the odds are very, very, very heavily in favor of Japan taking this next turn, especially since we're going to have fighters, a bomber, and bombardment capacity. So, there we go. That's basically our turn. Well, for Burma anyway. We do have a couple of things we can do. Again, we're going to ignore all this. This doesn't matter right now. This can matter in turn 4, turn 5, but right now it doesn't matter. However, this is nice. This is nice. We could kind of do a yeah, we could do something here. Thing is, do I want 1 extra infantry here in Kwangtung or 1 in Sichuan? Probably Sichuan, because the fighter does defend at 4. And I want to make sure to get rid of that, and I want to make sure not to lose a fighter. I don't know if these 2 infantry here are both going to defend, but we can basically just do something like this, and there you go. That's the US presence completely wiped. Well, I mean, should be wiped out. You never know. When it's down to a dice game, you have absolutely no idea. You could take this infantry and take Soviet Far East, but, you know, it's better just to kind of leave it there. It would be pretty stupid for Russia to attack with 2 infantry, since they roll on 1. It's usually better to try to attack with 3 infantry versus 1, and not 2. They could take it. I mean, theoretically it's possible, of course. It's mathematically probable. Or better said, not impossible, but mathematically improbable that they take Buryatia SSR. Anyway, that's the move against Burma. Really not much else that we can do. That's pretty much our turn. I could have taken maybe a transport to help out here and bombard with it, but I'm pretty confident that that's going to be taken with relative ease. Let's just go ahead and check it out. 5 against 2 in Kwangtung. Let's see how the Japanese military fares. Okay, they've taken that, and they did not defend. Wonderful. That could have gone south. You know, they could have taken out an infantry and a plane. They could have. But statistically, it shouldn't happen. And against the 1 US fighter, gone. It took out an infantry as expected because they defend on 4. That's absolutely fine. It's just an infantry. Non-combat move, we're moving everything back into Thailand. And we're moving all of this down here. Don't forget this nice little battleship just waiting up there. Now look at this. Look at this. We've got 7 aircraft in Thailand. We've got 13 land units in Burma. And we've got 2 battleships. And a cruiser. We have 3 bombardment ships that are getting ready to invade India next turn. What do you think? Do you think we're taking it by turn 3? I don't know. It's a tough one. You think we'll lose? I don't know. I really don't know. Right, that's pretty much everything we can do. End the phase. Our fleet is completely 100% consolidated, and now we've got little surprise attackers over here. 5 Japanese submarines off the east coast of Japan. So England is basically just sacrificing India. Yeah, again, the AI is not a good example for when you're actually looking at this strategy. It's good to put a lot of pressure on players, but this is just horrible. Moving the 5 infantry that were in India out of it to try to kind of retake this area or maybe help out Russia, it's just bad. And now they're basically sacrificing 2 tanks and a Spitfire for absolutely nothing. They're going to get completely wiped out. There's nothing they can do. And this is pretty much just, you know, you can do whatever you want here. I like to keep trying to gain absolute control of the Pacific. So, you know, you could just go for 5 more submarines. You could start getting maybe a couple of more transports to start threatening Alaska. It doesn't matter. What you do is up to you here. clearly. What you do is always up to you in every aspect of life, for the most part. But, you know, it doesn't matter. You do you, boo. I'll do me. We're taking India. It's pretty simple. Now, what we can do here, seeing as how we've got these lovely 2 infantry, if you're playing against a UK player that has this very heavily defended, you can just bring 1 transport down here and offload it there, because all of your land units are already in Burma, so you really don't need to unload them with transports. I would highly recommend that you do at least 1 more transport movement, because if you don't, you can only bombard with 2 battleships, not 2 battleships and the cruiser. So, you know, make sure to just get at least 1 more transport going so you can actually bombard with all 3 heavy ships at your disposal. You know, don't miss that chance to just get an extra free kill for absolutely no reason by not offloading at least 3 units. But apart from that, there we go. We've got 25 units attacking India. I have played against players that have, by this turn, have 13 Spitfires on India. You know, they have the 2 that start on the United Kingdom. They bring them up to Iceland, then take them down to Moscow, then bring them down to India. Miraculously, the 1 on Egypt survives from the German attack, or the Germans don't attack, and they bring it down here as well. And then every turn for 3 turns, they plonk down 3 Spitfires. Oh, and the 1 from the fleet that they start with. That totals 13 Spitfires. I've seen 13 Spitfires on here with the infantry that's already in it, the 1 infantry from Burma that they brought back, and even sometimes the American plane on India. I've seen that kind of defensive power here, and Japan still wins. This is such an unbelievably overpowered strategy. You know, you could, I mean, given this circumstance, you could sacrifice a couple of land units and try to retake Borneo, but, I mean, it's over. It's over. Turn 3. Turn 3, India's gone. I mean, it's just ridiculous. There's nothing they can do. There are different strategies that you can try to do as the UK, which I'm really not going to get into. That's a UK strategy thing, where you can be a little bit more aggressive. You can try to keep them at bay at Yunnan. You can take out a couple of the infantry and the artillery. You know, there are things you can try. You're going to have to coordinate, you know, if you're playing with friends, if you're playing the board game with friends or something like that, you'd have to coordinate with the US, whoever's playing the US, to try to put pressure on. The AI is just deciding to vacate the Pacific. They said, fuck this, and they're just leaving. They're just blitzing straight for the Atlantic theater. They're just going to put a lot of pressure on Germany. But now the UK is out of Asia, and it's just so hard to defend against this. There are people that I've spoken to that say it's better to just have 4 transports here, and every turn put 8 units on Japan and ferry them to China and back, and just keep doing that and not actually going straight for India. That's also a very viable option. It takes a little bit longer to take India, but you kind of solidify your hold against any kind of American counterattack on the eastern coast of China as well. That is a very viable strategy. It's a good strategy, but I personally like taking India in 3 turns. It puts a lot of pressure on the players. You never know if, you know, maybe you get lucky and the UK doesn't start to heavily solidify this area from turn 1, because the UK does move before Japan, so, you know, maybe they screw up and they don't actually try to maintain this. But here we go. This should be an absolute cakewalk. They didn't take down any planes. There we go. The infantry. I didn't even need my planes here. The infantry took everything out. And we lose 2 infantry total. That's it. We've lost 6 IPCs to their 27. And again, even if these 5 infantry were here, even if these 3 Spitfires were here, even if they kept putting Spitfires in there, it doesn't matter. You're taking India. You're absolutely taking India by turn 3. There's nothing they can do about it. There's absolutely nothing. Provided, of course, you don't get absolutely unlucky with horrific dice rolls. If you get horrible dice rolls and they get really good dice rolls, you're screwed. I mean, it's like anything else in this game. It all depends on the dice. But the statistics are always with you. It's just unbelievable how overpowered this strategy is. So now you have Asia basically completely solidified. All you have to do is kind of retake Borneo, maybe take Australia if you want, help out here with where is this? That's Persia, not Transjordan. Help out a little bit with a little bit of Africa, and then the Axis control all of, well, Europe, Asia, and Africa. Well, not all of Europe yet. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my J3 takes India strategy. Again, there can always be little variations here and there. I'm sure other people prefer to play different ways. And of course, it depends on what the ally powers are doing. It depends on whether in turn 1 you still have the fleet here in Sea Zone 37. And of course, the success of that depends on whether or not Germany takes Egypt for that 1 additional Spitfire. It depends on what Britain does put here on India. It depends how much support they get from the US. It depends how aggressive the UK is against Yunnan and Thailand. It depends how aggressive they might be building up a fleet and trying to counter here. It depends on a lot of things. But for the most part, it's unbelievably overpowered because Japan does start with 2 battleships. And battleships are just freebies. They can take hits like nothing else. It's absolutely unbelievable. It also depends on whether or not the UK takes this starting zone on turn 1. You might have an additional transport to come down here, pick up this artillery, bring it over, pick up one of the infantries that starts on Shanghai, do something with that. You might even have more infantry than this strategy. But playing against the AI, the UK always takes this sea zone, so you're always left without this additional transport. You can try to mix and match. Maybe you just want 2 transports. Maybe you want to try it with less. Maybe you want another fighter. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, this is a pretty damn solid strategy. There are 100 different things you can do, 1,000,000 different things you can do in this game, but this is one of my favorite, with one of my favorite nations to play as well. I hope you really enjoyed it. Keep an eye out for different strategy videos. Thank you very much for watching, and join me back next time.